Hi, this is Patrick Murray again. I'm back for part three of our webinar series on product recommendations, and I'm joined today by my friend Mike Hartman.
Hey, Patrick, it's great to be back here.
All right, as I said, today is part three of our series on product recommendations. We previously spoke about the importance of product recommendations and how maximizing the data really helps refine the algorithms and get good product recommendations out to your recipients. Today, we're going to focus on using some best practices in your recipe strategies for your broadcast emails. All right, basic considerations for using product recommendations in broadcast emails. Personalization is key to performance. Retailers and clients of ours are always saying how they want to increase personalization. And using product recommendations in your broadcast messages is a very easy and effective way of driving that home. When you're planning your broadcast promotional messages, you want to build your merchandise blocks and your recipe strategies with your promotional calendar, always thinking of the audience that's going to be receiving the message, the content that's in the message, and aligning those product recommendations to both. We will cover recipe strategies for your automated campaigns in a future episode. But just to make the point here, you want to keep a different algorithm or different strategy for your broadcast messages than you do from your automations. So don't just copy a recipe strategy that's in a shopping cart abandonment email to use in a promotional message. It's not going to always yield the best results. So when you're aligning your promo calendar and you have a product that's new releases or like a specific category, there's a sale in a specific category, you want to build those recipes to match with that. Something that's also very important when you're building your broadcast messages and inserting product recommendations. The product recommendations headline should always align with the products that are going to be shown. In the example on the right, you can see that it says just your style. And that's using a personalized recipe to show something that is picked just for me, for that end user, and they're seeing that. If you're doing something that's very specific to a category and all of the products are going to be in that specific category, make sure that the headline aligns with that strategy. So, as we think about the recipes for your broadcast emails, the base ingredients are going to drive the foundation for the recipe strategy. These are four evergreen recipes that you could utilize as that base ingredient for just about every broadcast message. Recent activity is going to be the key ingredient for any personalization. When you want to remind people of products that they recently looked at or abandoned, recent activity is the one-to-one relationship. You want to show them the products that they had recently looked at. This is important to note when you're building this recipe strategy that you don't add in an additional ingredient that says not a reference product, because the reference product in this case is going to be the recent activity, and you want to make sure those products are shown. Top sellers are going to return the top 250 SKUs that sell the most items, the most units sold. And that's a great base ingredient to then refine to the specific category, brand, subcategory, et cetera, that your message is going to be promoting. And trending is excellent for when you're shifting from one season to the other and you want to start to pick up and show the products that have sold the most units and had the biggest delta from one period over the other. So things that are starting to pick up and are selling more now that it's spring will show up when you use trending as a base ingredient. And those new product releases or new product drops using a what's new strategy will bring in the items that are the newest additions to your product file. When you're designing your merchandise block and putting your promotional emails together, you want to make sure that the product images are crisp and clear and up to date. So always review the products that are being returned as you're building the recipes. My recommendation is to always include at least 6 products in the merchandise block. Again, personalization is key. You don't necessarily have to have the same recipe in all 6 products. If you want to show some from the specific category and some that are personalized, you can mix it up within a merchandise block. People scroll on their phones and want items to click. So having more products is a great and easy way to add that to the message. Some simple strategies are the most effective. A merchandise block that has a nice, crisp, clear product image and the product title is very effective. But don't just limit yourself to a product image and title. Test into things like a crisp, clear call to action. Buy now or shop now. Test into price, right? We typically say use price sparingly, but there are plenty of occasions where showing the price or the sale price is very effective. So always be testing with product recommendations. If there are products that are in low inventory or there's, scarce quantity, you can use tags to call that out as well. But keep it simple, make sure it's on brand and it fits with the rest of the message that you're sending, and it should be very effective. So here are a few examples of some personalized product recommendation strategies. Each of these merchandise blocks are using recipes that are pulling in recent activity or a customer's preferred category or subcategory. So when sending a broadcast message to a vast audience and you want to add personalization for each person that's receiving it, this is an excellent strategy. You can see in these examples, they have a few different elements. All have crisp, clear product images. Some have a longer product title and price. Others are using that call to action. And the one on the right is also pulling in their 5-star reviews. So if you have any item that is ingested into listrak that is related to the product, you can surface that in your merchandise block and test in to see what yields the highest click-through rates and the highest results for you. Here are a few examples that are a very effective use of using category-specific recommendations. In these cases, they are using the base recipes of what's new in a specific category. The fishing lures example is showing these are the newest fishing lures for this particular client. So they had a promotional message that was gearing up for the fishing season, and this headline speaks about fishing lures, and all of the products that are being recommended are around lures. The center example here, the promo that they were running was for Rolex watches. So using the brand and the category, they were able to pull in specific Rolex watches into that merchandise block there. That particular client was promoting watches that were on sale, so they added the sale price with another tag calling out that it was an event price, a limited time offer. And then on the right, as they're moving from winter into spring, they were liquidating winter coats and had a huge 60% off outerwear sale and wanted to pull in all on sale winter coat items. So they used the specific category and style to pull in all relevant products in that merch block. And in these examples, we're showing an effective use of a single product recommendation. This is a strategy that we've been recommending our clients test into very recently. With changes to Apple Mail and cropping of emails in the promotions tab to 300 pixels, having a clear call to action as the first thing that the user sees has helped increase engagement and drive higher click-through rates. Showing a product that they recently browsed or recently abandoned in this banner style has shown to be the highest clicked on element in a number of the messages that our clients are using it. So we have a couple of examples here as you go left from right in areas where they're mixing in these single merchandise block product recommendations. On the left, they're using it in 2 different spaces with 2 different recipes. The top being that recent activity, something that you recently browsed, recently abandoned, and showing that in a broadcast message way above the fold in the header of the email. In the body of that email, they want to show this single product that is the deal of the day. And it's really using an algorithm to show an on-sale product from the customer's preferred category. And so you're seeing 2 different elements with a single product that's resonating with each customer and will be different for each person that opens the email. In the middle, they're looking at items that were on sale, right? The sale rack is popping off, get moving. Our top pick for you, customer's preferred category, item is on sale. It's driving high click-through rates without additional incentives or coupons, something that's already on site and on sale, and just surfacing that as something unique to each user. And then on the right-hand side, it's very similar to the one on the left, where this is an item that someone had recently abandoned in their cart, and they're reminding them on the next broadcast message that goes out, our top pick for you, shop now. In all of these cases, we also recommend that 2 or 3 tiered structure recipe strategy so that if a person's opening the email and hasn't been on the site or hasn't browsed, they will see a top seller or a trending item or an on-sale product that's in a very popular category so that there's something for each person that opens the message. Now I'll hand it over to Mike to take a look at the platform.
Thanks, Patrick. That stuff is really cool. It's neat to see how many different ways we can really implement recommendations without having them feel, like recommendations. So I've already gone through a lot of, how we build recipes, how we can design the product recommendations. Even our design team has done a webinar on that. So we're going to just touch on a few things and really show you how we can implement some of the stuff that Patrick just talked about. So let's jump in. All right. So here we are back in our recipe builder. As Patrick was talking about using different kind of base algorithms, in this case, I'm going to go with what's new, right? So we're going to promote the things that most recently were added to our product catalog. But in this case, he was showing those category specific product recommendations in broadcasts. And he was actually specifically, I think it was ski jackets. So what I did here is I set it so that we have our importance slider here. I turn that all the way up. We're going to get all of our jackets over on the right-hand side. And I believe it was also a 60% off sale. So we can set this one so that we're only getting the jackets in sale. And you can see that they changed. So there's a lot of different things that we can do here. We can continue to add additional elements to this. But that's how we would set that up for a broadcast for our sale ski jackets. Now, if I take these down and go back to our base what's new, I'm going to jump over to a customer here who has a preference for footwear, right? So now we can take, because they're a customer, because we know their preferred category, we can dial it up based off of their preferences. Now all we see is footwear in that email. So again, great way to mix and match, use different elements, recipe ingredients to dial in those recommendations in your broadcast emails. And then now I'll jump over here to our email builder, Composer. And I've already got an example in here. I'm going to show you another way we can do this just to kind of tweak it. But the first example here is using dynamic content along with product recommendations, right? So we can now take our merchandise blocks, we can create multiple versions. In this case, I have a version where I have a filter applied that's only going to show product recommendations in this block to people that are customers, people that have at least one or more orders. This can be anything you want to segment off of. If you've got loyalty members and you're going to target them, if you've got VIPs, whatever you want, you can create these variations. And then it's literally just dragging on your recommended products into the email, into the different sections. This is a browser. They must have been browsing handbags, and they're going to see these products recommended to them. Now, to show you another way we can do this is kind of tweaking. You'll notice that if I drag in recommended products, you'll see I drop them in. I select, I'm going to pick 4, right? I'm going to select my mobile view. But you see that block only has 3, and that was on purpose, right? So now what I can do is I can actually just drag these around and lay them out however I want. I could even drop in a text component here. I could say, we think you'll love these, right? And I can pick, different fonts, make it bigger. We can style this however we want now, right? This is just another way that we can get a more personalized look in these emails, broadcast with product recommendations that don't really feel like product recommendations. It's more like having that personal curated shopper alongside making sure that you're getting the content that's most relevant to you. And that will wrap up our third session in this series about product recommendations. Make sure you come back and catch our automated triggered recommendation strategies, and check out the Help Center for more resources. But otherwise, we'll see you next time. Thanks everyone for joining.